The only chance I've got of staying alive is to stay dead. Find out who wants to kill me. And why.
The wind is strong. We will get no closer, Mr. Galbraith.
If you say so, Douglas.
God damn it, we've got to.
I do not think it is possible.
Very much.
In a minute, you won't need the airplane. You'll be able to step out onto the wing and fly by yourself.
I made this trip a dozen times, 24 times. When Maggie was alive. Scotland, Charlie Galbraith at the other end. Old times, old stories. And the triple run malt instead of this half treacle they blend nowadays.
Why not straight through? Keep on going to the Highlands. Why Edinburgh?
I need some gear. Old time's sake. It's better to travel hopefully than to arrive. Well, this is one time. One place I'd like to keep traveling hopefully. Because I don't want to find out what I think I'm going to find out when I arrive.
You'll find that suitable for most sports, sir. That I can assure you.
Deer stalking. But I was talked into going. And that was the first accident. That was nearly 2 years ago now. I was wearing a jacket like this.
Is that satisfactory, sir?
Fine, unless you got a bulletproof one.
I had a South American gentleman ask me the same thing, sir. I'm afraid we don't stock.
We'll be a couple of minutes. Then?
I was away in the mountains above Irisag. I got bored, stopped for a drink, took the jacket off, sat against an outcrop, reached for the flask. That's when whoever it was shot at me, using a mercury-tipped slug. There was a hole the size of a soup plate in the jacket, and they took rock splinters out of my back from where the bullet hit stone. It was meant to cut me in half.
Who else was there?
My ex-partner, Charlie Galbraith, and his bailiff, a human wolf called McKinnon.
And they blamed poachers.
And the color of the jacket.
Mr. Galbraith could get up there. So could I. But I would be concerned for you, Mr. Friedman.
Well, that's a 12-point stag. I need that head. I need it for the office. Impress the clients.
Will I get it for you?
Oh, sure. Go to it. The hell with sportsmanship. Who's going to know?
Then I will meet you back at the lodge. Andrew will tend to the ponies.
I suppose I ought to go with him.
He's right. This is hard country. You could die up there. And the hoodie crows would pick you clean and nobody would know.
I'm crazy about your Scottish sense of humor.
I'll take it.
That'll be £65.
What?
There's so many good skins going to Japan these days.
It can get cold up Fujiyama-san.
Thank you. Good luck with your stalking, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Home is the hunter, home from the hill.
Sailor home from the sea is more like it.
thank you, Mrs. McKinnon. Just put it there. How was it?
Oh, fair. Well, no later.
McKinnon?
Yes.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Galbraith. I need this. You've got some great heads here. Great heads. But I don't understand this. It's pretty sick.
My late partner nailed that to the wall. To remind him how lucky he was.
And how much he hated guns. Lupinette's favorite hunting story was one of Gauvedin's. About a sailor in America who took a shortcut through some woods during the deer season. 3 hunters took a shot at him. They thought he was a moose. Now, the sailor was wearing dress whites and 30 feet up a tree at the time. It's a true story.
I'm sure it is. Burnett sounds quite a guy.
Oh, he was. Ask Louisa. She probably knew him as well as anybody.
If Mr. Friedman's here on business, I'm sure he'd much rather listen to your side. See you at dinner.
We'll get a train to Inverness, then a car to Iriseg.
You get a car. I'll take a bus or something. There's no point in both of us being out in the open.
Crow, I've got to be on this one. Straight line up to the front door.
Live bait.
It's the only way I can do it.
All right, then give me half a day. We left a good rifle and a scope size on that fire station job. What's all this? Not a birthday, is it?
No. I just hope I'm wrong about Charlie Galbraith.
Well, it's not likely. Not with mercury-tipped slugs.
We worked together for 9 years. On contracts that nobody else would take. In the sunk holes of the world. And all he talked about all the time was Iriseg, this dying Scottish village on the coast of nowhere where he was born. And he was going to go back with a fortune and give it the kiss of life. New boats, fish-curing plants, weaving sheds. And I remember the exact time and place he decided to do it. He just said, I reckon my share's worth $1 million now, Lou. And he sold out. To me. Then he poured the lot down this romantic Highland drain.
Well, that's no reason to kill you. His risk, his fault.
I raised 3 loans for him. When his own money ran out. In exchange for a personal option to buy 20% of the land. Well, when somebody shot the hole in my jacket, Charlie needed even more money.
And you turned him down?
Flat. Good money off the bat. Ideals are fine, but profit's better. I wanted to subsidize 8 some reels and buy tickets for the Highland Games. Still, I hope I'm wrong about it.
I think there's more to that than you're telling me.
Charlie, you're stalling and you know it.
Speaking as your accountant,
And a
Charles,
politician.
I think you're taking a stand too early.
Or too late. I'm negotiating about Iriseg. Something I spent 10 years building.
Before Burnett died, you couldn't get a penny out of the banks, and you know it. Because they found out he wouldn't lend you any money, even with cheap options to sell land if you failed.
But then he died.
And nobody could sell but you. And you were back in business, clear title. One phone call and money's here, so am I.
You will excuse me, Mr. Galbraith, but Mr. Friedman should know the stag is dead.
That's just great, McKinnon, great.
You'll take a dram, Douglas?
On a night like this, I'll pour it.
I told Mrs. McKinnon you'd be late.
She will wait, and the food will be hot.
Charles, at least look at the political side.
I have. You believe in devolution, that Scotland will be separate from Whitehall. Whitehall, mark you, not Westminster in, 10 years? That's the future. In Iriseg, I am my own Whitehall, and my own Westminster. Now.
That is a sentiment I will drink to, and bid you good night.
Good night, Douglas.
What the hell, Charlie? The guy's done me a favor. All I want to do is give him some money.
You tip servants like that, Mr. Friedman. McKinnon's a Highlander. You leave him a present. Check. Sealed envelope, thank you not. Whether he cashes it is up to him. Servant, he is not.
Not like any I've ever seen. You'd think this was his estate.
In a way it is. Has been for generations.
That's the trouble, Charles. Not anymore. Scotland's changing, but it won't be your way. Not with traditional industries, model farms. You've tried and it's cost you a fortune. Like it cost Leverhulme a fortune.
All I need is more time.
And money.
All I know, Eddie, is what Mr. Crow said on the phone from Scotland.
Working up there, is he?
He didn't say.
Well, if he is, he's welcome to it. I did a couple of jobs in Glasgow once, when the big helmets down here were wondering about me rent money. Touchy old place, Glasgow. You don't understand that Scotch rabbit they talk in. And if you put a word wrong, that's easy done up there. They're right into you with a Bellini drumstick.
Yeah, well, they're a musical race. Unless you count the bagpipes. What's a Bellini drumstick?
Piece of lead pipe with a few nails through it. If you're caught in possession, you kid on, you're a plumber on his way home from work.
Sounds a dangerous place, Scotland. I've never been there.
It's all right for sheep, otherwise you can keep it. I just thumped these half a dozen customers they pointed at me, drew me wages for it, and had it wound me toes back down here. I'm glad of it.
Yeah, well, you're better off now, Eddie. Straight thieving. Well, violence has its place, mind you. I'm not knocking it. But it's no real profession. There's no security. Besides, you can get hurt.
Yeah. Only hope Mr. Crow's looking after himself.
Don't worry, Mr. Crow's good at his job. Do you remember when Sammy Hallmark tried to stick to that collection of Georgian silver he'd lifted and draw the money from Mr. Crow's insurance company?
8 grand, no suffering, all peace and quiet. That was greedy.
Well, he's from Birmingham. It's to be expected.
I remember that. Sammy finished up with no money, no silver, and multiple contusions.
Yeah, and a reputation for dishonesty.
Talk of the devil. Hello, Mr. Crow. Drink?
Thanks, Eddie. Next time, I'm in a hurry. Get this for me, will you, Turtle? Ship it to this hotel.
Second-hand what?
You can read. And fast. Eddie, I may have to recruit in Glasgow. Do you know anybody?
Yeah, easy.
What's in a bag, Mr. Crow?
Laundry.
Yeah, well, they say you need heavy underwear up there, but still...
Thanks, Eddie. Be in touch.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody among the old sporrans wasn't in a spot of trouble.
I'll take a malt. You choose.
It will be the one without a label, but good.
Oh, thank you. Join me.
I will. I'd return the compliment. Welcome to Erasig.
Cheers.
Are you fishing or shooting?
Neither, I'm just walking.
In those, sir?
I've got a good chronometers.
Would you also have a good map?
No.
Then you should buy one. Or I will lend you one, that would be better. The areas to stay out of are well marked.
Are you the local gamekeeper?
No, but it's because of him that you should have the map. His name is McKinnon. He looks after the forest for Mr. Galbraith.
I know the laws of trespass.
So does McKinnon. But if he catches poachers, he breaks guns on their backs and leaves them on the infirmary steps. Avoid him if you can.
Thanks for the advice. What do you do around here?
I'm the police force. On my morning off now. I'll get the map for you.
You remind me of a man I knew. He used to wear a foolish jacket like that.
He still does.
It is still foolish.
Public property, McKinnon, not your business.
I need no advice on matters from you, Archie Black. And the gentleman will tell me.
Yes, I think perhaps he will. You remind me of a man I knew. He used to boast that he'd never been more than 30 miles from the cottage where he was born. He married a woman who had no other choice but him. It was that of the city. He used to beat her like a work dog, probably still does.
Living differently from city men, certainly. The way a man should live, used to live.
Oh, the good old days before the Highland clearances, when the clans picked a living from thin soil and thinner cattle, till their own chiefs kicked them out because Cheviot sheep made more money.
English money.
Taken by Scotsmen.
You didn't like this man very much?
Not a lot, then or now.
The man I knew is dead.
Which must have been good news to some.
Archie Black has doubtless been telling you to be careful where you walk.
I always am.
Like it or not, this is the new Scotland. By the end of the century, it'll be the richest country in the world.
You look at it. I remember the way it used to be. That's why Charlie Galbraith won't sell any part of Erisig.
Erisig, big deal. 2 fish boats and a shed full of little old ladies knitting sweaters for the tourist trade. It's in the past. This is now. Oil and gas from the North Sea are facts. They won't go away.
What sort of money's behind you, Friedman?
Does it matter?
If you're Scots, it does.
I'm just an oil shark from Oklahoma. In it for the money. Cards face up. All I want at Erisig is a harbor extension and a big chunk of land for storage tanks.
And when the contractors move out, there'll be jobs for about 15 locals and a wrecked coastline.
You can't eat the view.
You won't be here to try.
You know the figures. In millions.
Yes.
Do me a favor. Do Galbraith a favor. Make him listen to them.
Yes, what is it, Jean?
McKinnon has asked me to carry a message, sir. That Mistress Galbraith will be late for dinner, and that you are asked not to wait.
Did she say why?
No, sir.
I will wait anyway.
I will see to it.
How's your mother, Jean?
How would she be, sir? After 15 years bedridden, and McKinnon kind enough to pay for the food and the medicines.
Out of your wages, Jean.
A man's wife does not have wages, sir.
Quentin, it's wild goose time. Going back down Burnett's past life just isn't working. Whatever trouble he had in Scotland, he's not coming back to. I'll stay the rest of the week. It's your money.
Typical Burnett. The locals are already taking bets about you and McKinnon. I'm just glad you didn't try to hit him with a local policeman.
Well, not Archie, not our friendly neighborhood guide and counselor. What else did he tell you?
Galbraith's still solvent. Nobody knows how. It could be political money. He also told me that I was the second man in 3 days asking questions. The first man was John Quentin. Now, stay out of the open, Lou.
I can't, not here.
Hello, Lou.
May I introduce Louisa, Mrs. Galbraith, Alan Crowe.
Looks like a private reunion.
Not at all. Are you one of the late Mr. Burnett's new associates?
You could say that, yes.
Oh, perhaps you should stay.
Not a bad idea, Crowe. You can hear the skeletons rattle in the cupboard.
You're thinner.
I'm getting a lot of exercise at the moment.
And rougher looking, if that's possible. How long have you known him?
4 months, more or less.
Do you have a contract? He's inclined to disappear, you know. Strictly a duration of the contract man, aren't you, Lou?
That was the deal from the start. You just forgot the terms.
Should I have put a card in the window, limited arrangements made? The contract was in the Rhone Delta. The arrangement was in Saint-Paul-de-Vence. Evenings with the scent of verbena drifting across the terrace of the Colombe d'Or.
The food was good, too.
And Picasso murals in the lavatories, I know it.
You don't know anything about it. You don't know about being obsessed, about the plans. You don't know about a note left on the bedside table, and the key to a cottage being sent back by post. And then the drinking and the crying and the pills for a year, and nothing but the empty days and months in front of you. You don't know about using love like a sledgehammer and leaving pieces. He does.
Charlie Galbraith picked up the pieces. From what I saw, he did a pretty
He
good
picked
job.
up most of them. He added me to his Highland dream. When I heard you were dead, I knew somebody had killed you. The one regret I had was that the somebody couldn't have been me.
Ladies have been crossed in love before.
That's exactly what he said. Almost the identical words. And I'm satisfied now. Now you know about pieces. And I don't think you'll find anyone to sweep them up. Nice to have met you, Mr. Crow.
You were right. It wasn't a birthday.
I'll see you later.
I could be right behind you, only not in the open.
Why the hell should you take any risk for me?
I signed on.
You heard Louisa. You've talked to Joe Dent.
Before you bent that helicopter around his
Then
head.
why?
Education, interest. I talked to Liz Hayden and Larson as well. They knew you too, and you aren't easy to know. You're even less easy to like. That's two of the things they say about me. Birds of a feather. Watch, listen, and learn. Has to be educational.
That's your life?
It always has been. Besides, there ought to be some wages in it eventually.
Even it's only enough for my second funeral?
You should concentrate on dodging that.
Don't worry, I am. One burst of whiskey and emotion's enough.
You put £2 million into Eriseg. I'm offering 10 for part of it. £8 million profit.
On a straight sale?
Yes.
I will only lease, and then on conditions.
I'll buy or nothing.
No deal. I will not be used or let this country be used.
By taking a profit? Oh, come on. We're bringing industry in. We're talking jobs.
No, Mr. Friedman, we're talking politics. By 1985, Britain will be 60% self-sufficient in fuel. That's the accurate figure, by the way, not the one the politicians use to gull the voters. It will still be the highest percentage in industrial Europe.
Hell, we know that. All we're doing is taking out a little insurance.
For you, not for Scotland.
Nationalism I can live with, but not when it turns down money.
Those are the terms.
I'll make some phone calls.
Where the Celt speaks softly, they think you're a fool. They forget I was once a good engineer, neck deep in countries where politics was dirty meat and drink. What's the money behind Friedman?
Government, English or American. That's who he's phoning. Hong Kong merchant banks, Middle East oil sheiks.
Middle East contributions new?
Not really. The quiet Arabs can store a year's supply of their oil in Scotland, then sit on the benches selling it, while their wild political neighbours blackmail the rest of the world. Or try to.
And still the profit goes elsewhere.
It's a lot of money. You were lucky when Burnett's options were reverted.
Oh, yes. Lou would have sold. Laughing.
You're welcome to the map. You might even follow it.
Might.
You both have the tourist clothes, but not the tourist faces. Not wanting to be uncivil-minded.
Nor me. You have a great comic village policeman act, but the approach is pure special branch.
They say that fortunes will come out of this coast. For some people.
And somewhere a top civil servant wants to know what's going on and which people.
Oh, they're entitled to be curious. Like me. Oh, what would you have in your bag?
A croquet set. I'm having it repaired for an old aunt in Upper Walling.
I like a story with detail to it. I've never seen a croquet set.
It's a bit savage for my taste as a game.
I'd like to see one. There was a New Zealand man with a bag like this round here just last week. The one I was telling you about.
That was one bag you should have looked into.
If I see him again, I will.
His name's Quentin.
All I want is an address book from your husband's office.
It is private.
Surely not to me. It's an office and I'm his employer's wife.
It is private to everyone.
Then don't tell him.
He will know. He will find out. He knows if I have crossed that room to look from the window when the doctor is late. Like a hell fox would know.
Then tell him it was my orders.
That will not save me the beating.
I didn't believe them. I just didn't believe them. And you're alive. Well, come in. Why didn't you telephone? Where are you staying?
Hello, Charlie.
Come in, come in. You still drink whiskey, don't you?
Not here.
Why?
Somebody tried to kill me 3 times. The first time was here. You or McKinnon.
Me? I must have jarred your memory loose. I'm Charlie Galbraith, remember? 1951, New Sir?
26 miles from Casablanca. Oh, yes, I remember. The Korean War was on. The Americans were spending billions of dollars on air bases. We set out to scoop enough out of the job to go into business on our own, right?
And we did. Then Nicaragua. You were gone 2 weeks. I thought you were dead then. Then you came back with a gang of bandits, and after that, the contract ran like clockwork.
Even if they did blow up the police chief by accident.
I was a bloody good engineer, but you were a force of nature. I hung on to your coattails and ended up with a fortune. So did the others.
Charlie, you or McKinnon.
Lou, why should I want to kill you? I have too much to thank you for.
Including a wife?
All right. That too. I knew I was second best. Perhaps I still am. But killing you wouldn't change that.
That leaves McKinnon. Take that drink now.
God, I'm glad to see you. A number of times in these past months, I've been up to here in trouble and reached for the telephone, then stopped because there wasn't any help. You were dead. Oh, Jean, ask Andrew to call Mr. McKinnon, would you please?
Hello, Mrs. McKinnon.
I am glad to see you again, sir.
What happened to Joe Denver? Helicopters to jets. I heard there was an accident.
It's no accident. I killed him. He rigged the plane crash when my wife died.
And there was something about Brian Nelson.
He's dead, too. I didn't have anything to do with that.
Well?
Mr. Crow isn't working for the insurance company anymore. He should have told us.
Oh, Eddie, we should have asked. Who did you talk to at his old firm?
Chatted some secretary. Sounded all right. Remembered Mr. Crow very well.
But save it for the Sunday papers, Eddie. And who did the real talking?
That's the bit I'm worried about. A fella called Dugdale. He's doing Crow's job now. Right witness box voice. Proceeding in a southerly direction. Ex-copper for my money.
So we're in trouble.
I told him you'd talk to him. You're the chat artist. And I put the phone down quick.
Best way. We need time to think. Makes you sick. It's a month's hard work.
Not your fault.
It is. I broke the first rule. Never steal anything you can't carry. And we had to nick a van load of furs. You learn better at Borstal.
Mr. Crow said he'd be in touch.
Oh, and he will.
So we, keep our heads down and wait, eh?
That's it. So a long-term investment. I'll put the mufflers on his Dugdale geezer. So, suspend negotiations. I never thought I'd see the day when an insurance company couldn't be talked to.
Not them. Just him. Only hope Mr. Crow gets back from Scotland soon. And in one piece.
Not a very nice day, is it?
It is not. But it will be better when I know what you are doing here.
Reading a map.
Not waiting for deer at the ford.
No, just admiring the view.
Then I will look inside the case, then.
Not while I'm on public land, you won't.
If I pick you out of there, and the case, and throw you over the river, you will be on my land, a trespasser and a poacher.
You won't throw anything, McKinnon. This is a 2-2 target pistol, and nobody carries one unless he can use it. I can put slugs in both of your feet, and you'll need a walking stick to get round these hills for the rest of your life.
Next time, it will be from behind.
I'm sure it will.
My name is Louisa Galbraith. I don't know who you are, and it doesn't matter where I got the number. If you want to find Lou Burnett, he's at Irrisaig.
I have told you, and I will tell Mr. Galbraith. I am tired of doctors and the smell of disinfectant and dying.
I would ask you to reconsider, McKinnon. It need not be for much longer.
You will not go against me.
Johnny, you kept Irrisaig going for 2 years after I turned you down. How'd you manage that?
Friends? Other peculiar Scotsmen who feel as I do?
Politicians?
And politicians.
They'll wreck this coast eventually, you know. Either for loot or for glory. Why the hell didn't you take a share of the profit? Grab the money and run to the Cayman Islands.
You wanted to buy a piece of Irisag, but not support it.
How can you support an 18th century dream that never was? A romantic ideal of a Scotland that only exists on the label of whiskey bottles?
You held a 20% option. You'd still sell?
That's why I took the option. And paid for it. Yes, I'd sell. It might even bring in jobs, Charlie.
Oh, yes. Good shepherds making plastic ashtrays. Soya bean hamburgers instead of fresh run herring.
And the discotheque versus the Cayley. How many young people have you got left?
Not many. But they'll come back, as I did.
And fail, as you did.
If they do, it will be because of Englishmen who use money only for profit.
Oh, good, it can talk. And on the right subject, have you ever tried to count the number of Scotch millionaires? Most of them with their fingerprints on the first bawbee they ever earned, and some of them skinned by me. Now, which one of them paid you 22 months ago? Or was it your own idea to get the clan chieftain here out of hock?
I was carrying no rifle that night.
No, you had it stashed up there already. I've seen you do it.
I did not fire at you that night or ever. But I do not think that it matters now. Because if you are alive, you have the right to sell 20% of Irisag. To put filth where trout swim. But you are dead. Unless stopped, I will see that you are truly dead.
Aren't you going to stop him, Charlie?
Well, how can I? He's right. If only you weren't so bloody honest about what you'd do. Could do. Sell with one phone call to Friedman. What do I choose? You or Irisag?
Well, now we know. You've gone obsessive, Charlie. You're using hell of our brains. Which rifle do you want, Jock?
My given name is Douglas.
Jock, which one?
The one on the right, if you please. It was my father's rifle.
Go to it, then. The last of the great Highland warriors. Hidden under a rock with a high-powered rifle, and anything you kill has to be 200 yards away. You wear one of these in your stocking, and you only use it to cut haggis, provided you're sure the haggis is dead.
You will not provoke me. But in one way, you are right. I will use my hands and steel. It will be more fitting. There are 2 hours of daylight left. I would go now.
Go when I'm ready.
Then I will wait for you.
I got the cable. I'm in Irisag. I know where they are. It's nice wild country and I've got 2 hours of daylight left. But I'll be coming out in a hurry and I want a small plane on standby. End of the trail.
He's about a mile up the track, waiting for you.
Good. Don't use that.
You're taking lousy odds, aren't you? It's his country. You can't dodge him.
That's just the point. I'm not going to try.
I don't think you can beat him either. Not without an equalizer. Here.
I'd probably shoot myself in the leg. Besides, I want to talk to him.
You may just get the chance to say goodbye.
paid you?
I fired no rifle at you, and I am glad. Because now I can kill you with better reason.
Against this?
You sneer at Highland warriors and use the weapons of a street fighter.
It's a private fight.
It could have been McKinnon I was aiming at. He'll kill Burnett anyway. I've seen him half kill poachers.
He might. Either way, you and I stay out of it. Until it's over.
I just want directions. The quickest way to Galbraith's place, the way a stranger would use.
If you're in a hurry, I could look after the case for you.
No.
There's poaching. It might be a rifle.
If it is, it's licensed.
Then I should like to see that license.
On what authority?
Police authority. What else? And information received.
Just tell me who.
Why don't you shoot Burnett? It'll be quicker. I'll pay you.
I'm already bought.
Now, I'm bury you, your foolish city giant.
I am not sorry, McKinnon. 15 years as your tame spaniel to be kicked is enough. And now my mother can die in peace. Oh, well, remember, you said. You sent 2 specialists from Edinburgh, eased my mind. There are things I can tell you. And Mr. Galbraith will be wanting his dinner.
You need a new bailiff, Charlie. This time try for one of the non-feudal models. You know, for a long time, I thought all we both wanted was to build things.
I still do, and will.
Will you? Now.
What did you buy him with, Lou?
I didn't. He joined his curious amateur of night school.
Did he kill McKinnon?
No.
But he would have done.
Will you?
Probably.
This is yours. £10,000. There was a parcel a week for 10 weeks. I opened one. 3 days in my bed beaten for that. Rain on the address, and I was expecting knitting wool from Hoyk.
I was there when she opened it.
So was I.
I would not have said that. Then there was a telephone number to speak to. McKinnon spent none of it because it was a bargain he had not honoured. It was your price. It belongs to ye.
Some of it, anyway.
Book his money on a bet you'd forgotten.
You may need that for legal fees. But I don't think so. Not as long as we all keep quiet and blame it on the poachers. That's the usual story, isn't it, Charlie? The one you used on me? When McKinnon tried before?
Not McKinnon. I do not think he would have missed.
Or used mercury-tipped slugs.
Who was it, Charlie? You or her?
The cause was mine. Not hers, not McKinnon's. And I shoot my own stag. But there were too many years I'd known you, and I missed.
I don't believe you.
Believe what you like.
It doesn't matter. You or her. It was all said when you turned McKinnon loose tonight.
He failed. Perhaps I'm glad of that.
Perhaps.
I failed too. But there could be another time.
Oh, yes. And I wonder how many more there are of you. Once love, once friendship. And I wonder what I ever did. Keep looking.
Poor old McKinnon. Dead and innocent.
There's none of us innocent, Crow. It's a state that doesn't exist.